To kick things off with the first module or the first part of this, we're going to work on our joint rotations, or some people call these joint circles. These are available to everybody. So even if you're not somebody that considers yourself flexible, or even if you consider yourself quite inflexible, these are going to be available to everybody. Obviously, some people are going to be able to move more than others, of course, but everybody can at least do these. And the great thing is we can work pretty much every joint from head to toe with them. One thing that we're going to keep fairly consistent with all of these when you go to your own practice is how many repetitions of each of these that you do. So even if I don't show an exact number or whatever in the demonstrations, what I recommend is between 5 and 10 repetitions per direction, per joint. If you're doing separate left side, right side, you're going to do, say, 5 to 10 clockwise, 5 to 10 counterclockwise, and then you'd even switch to the other side of the body and do the same 5 to 10. So what we're going to do for these is a series of our joint rotations from a standing position, starting at our neck and working our way down. And then we're going to also then move on to some ground-based material where we go down to the ground to do some of them. So first off, let's start with our neck. Arms are relaxed at our sides, and we're going to start with yeses, where I'm going to just bring my chin to my chest, up to the sky, nice and slow. Good, nice long front side of the neck. We'll do one more each way for now. Okay, and after our yeses, we're going to do our nose, where I'm going to turn and look over my shoulder. And then I'm going to turn and I'm going to look over my shoulder. And I'll go back and forth again. I'll do 3 each way for the demonstration. When you practice this on your own, again, I would say 5 to 10 per direction. Next one for the neck, we're going to do side tilt. So I'm going to tip my head to the side, and I'm going to be careful to not shrug my shoulder up. That's a really common thing on this one, is people think that they're tipping to the side, but the neck doesn't move very far this way, and so they start to bring their shoulder up to make it feel like it's closer, and we want to make sure we're avoiding that. So we're going to tip to one side, tip to the other, and we'll just go back and forth, again, until you've done 5 to 10 per direction. All right. The next one is one of my favorite stretches. With as much jiu-jitsu as I do, my neck gets used a lot in grappling, and this is one of my favorite ways to help bring my neck a little bit of relief. These are called glides. So if we look at a side view, most people, our head sits like a little bit out in front of our body, like my ears might be just slightly in front of my shoulders. And especially if you're at your phone texting a lot, or if you're at your keyboard typing a lot, this kind of forward head posture is very common, and it leads to a ton of tightness in your neck. And neck tightness can migrate into shoulder and back stuff, and it really can become a problem. So these cervical glides are one of my favorites. So what we're going to think about doing is lengthening the back side of my neck. So I'm going to try to pull my chin inwards, like I'm giving myself a double chin, and then relax. And pull in, and then relax. If that's a tricky motion for you, don't sweat it. It's a tricky motion for a lot of people. So you can very gently use your hands to guide it. I can use the webbing of my thumb on my chin, and I can use my fingers on this little knobby bump on the back of my head. So my hand in front is slightly guiding my head backwards, and my hand that's behind my head is lifting to the sky very gently. Again, keep it very gentle with the hands. But I can really get a nice stretch, and I feel like everything on this back side of my neck is opening up, and it really feels very good once you learn how to do it. So about 5 to 10 of those. Next one will be our final one for the neck specifically, and this is going to be just basic neck circles. So I'm going to start with my chin to my chest, and everything is kind of slumped forward. And then we're going to roll to the side. And I'll do 3 each way here. Don't be afraid of letting your shoulders kind of move with you a little bit. That can sometimes help get even a little bit more motion from your neck. Remember to look right up at the ceiling as you pass to the rear of the circle here. All right, so we've got our neck out of the way. Next up, we'll go to some shoulder drills. We'll start with a really basic one. I call these shoulder rolls. So what I'm going to do is keep my palms lightly touching my sides, and I'm going to go pull my shoulders backwards, up to the sky, forwards, and down. And I'll go ahead and do 5 each direction here. There's 3, there's 4, and there's 5. And then we'll switch directions. So forward, up, back, and down. And note that I'm keeping my palms pretty close to my thighs, because that's going to make sure that I'm moving from the aspect of my shoulder that this drill is meant for. We have other drills that are meant for other parts of the shoulder. Okay, so that's our shoulder roll. Next one is going to be a full arm circle. These you can do both arms at the same time, or if you have extra time, these are a great one to do only one side at a time. So I'll show with both at the same time. I'm sure you can imagine what it would look like if I only did one side at a time. So I'm going to keep my elbows locked, and I'm going to make my hands go back behind me. I'm going to reach a certain point where I can't keep going back, and I need to spin my hands to then continue my circle. Up high to the sky, and I'm reaching way out in front of me as I come down, and I'm trying to make these circles as big as I possibly can. And note the speed that I'm going at here. There's not really any momentum at all involved with this. It's fully controlled, nice and slow the entire time. All right, so that's 3 forwards, or 3 on whatever that first direction you were going to call it. Now I'm going to switch directions. I'm going to start by going out in front, up as high as I can, back behind me, squeezing my shoulder blades backwards. Eventually I'm going to have to turn my hands to come back down. I'll do 2 more this way. Way up, pull my shoulder blades back, get nice and wide. I'll do 1 more. Nice and slow. Try to feel good control at all points. And we'll finish right there.